Hello there everyone, it's Kathy with Paper Phenomenon. I am going to share how I mat tabs using my tab punch board. So if you like to create tabs or tabbed anything using your tab punch board, you always want to use a decorative mat, right? So I'm going to show you how I do it. So for tabs or anything tabbed, you do the following. So you're going to pick your tab, the first one that you're going to create. And for me, it's going to be the large. So I'm going to go ahead and position my paper around and hover over the large. So this is just for straight up tabs. I'm just going to cut right down this way, right? Right at the edge. So let's just say we're creating tabs. The large tab, well, I'm not going to go there yet. So what I like to do is, to create tabs in general, I don't use this to cut the tab off. I use my trimmer, and I like to cut these off so the tab itself, the finished tab, is at 3/4 of an inch. So I like to cut at 1 1/4 inches. All right, and that's just to give me enough space to attach to something. If you think that this is not enough space, then you can cut at 1 1/2 inches, and that may work for you. I personally think this is enough. Like if I wanted to add this to a notebook or something, or to a mini album page, adding 3/8 inch tape here is more than enough to get that in there. And I don't know what I did wrong, but I cut crooked, so I'm just going to do this again. I hate things that are crooked. All right, so instead of cutting here, so this is for the tab base, I am just going to cut on here at 1 1/4 inches. All right, so I've got my tab. All right, now to mat your tab, you're going to measure it. You're going to measure the tab at the widest point, right? And it measures 2 1/2 inches. Okay, so what do we do when we're going to mat? We measure it and we cut 1/4 of an inch under, right? Under the matting area. So this matting area is at 2 1/2 inches. So you would cut at 2 1/4 inches. All right, but I'm going to do a big red stop sign. I'm going to show you at 2 1/4, okay? I personally like to cut for this tab at 1/8 of an inch under. So I'm going to do 1/8 of an inch under and the typical matting size, which is 1/4 of an inch under. So let's get our pattern paper. And I've got this scrap here that I'm going to use. All right, and I'm going to cut my strip at 2 1/4. Right, matting size would be 1/4 of an inch under the area you want to mat. So what you would do is you would take this paper and you would put it in your tab punch board like regular, right? You want to flip it over. However, you don't move to the large tab size, right? Because it's not large enough. You're just going to put it right up against that marking. There should be a little doohickey here it's blue. I lost mine, but there's a clear defining mark there to where you should line it up. So I just bring it to that line there. And then you punch again. And see this, here's your matting size. You get a perfect mat. So for that, I cut here. Okay? For the matting, I cut here. So this is your mat size at 1/4 of an inch under. So this is a typical matting, 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Cut your matting paper, cut 1/4 of an inch under your tab. In this particular case, for the large tab, is 2 1/2 inches. Your mat will be 2 1/4 inches. But let me show you what it looks like. Oh, darn it. At 2 3/8 of an inch. I personally like the 2 3/8 of an inch size for the tab. But that is up to you guys, all right? If you may like that 1/8 of an inch around. I'm not saying I hate it, but I just like the way this one looks. So this is at 2 3/8 of an inch, which is 1/8 of an inch under. And the reason why I'm telling you 1/8 of an inch under, because there's a small and a medium tab here. So you want to do exactly the same thing for the small and the medium tab. I'm just showing you the large tab. So this is cutting 1/8 of an inch under. Okay, and you get this. I feel like if you wanted to put a sentiment here, you have more space for a sentiment. So I like this for a tab, but I leave that up to you guys. All right, you may like the 1/4 of an inch under, right? It's up to you. So these are your two choices. This is what it looks like, just a very small black margin there, or border, excuse me. And then for the 1/4 of an inch, you get your basic 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Okay, so I leave that choice up to you. That's how you do it. Now, whether you're doing a photo mat with a tab, let's say you want to do a photo mat with a tab. I'm just going to punch anywhere, guys. Right there, and I'm going to pick the small one, right? So let me go ahead and make my tab. And let's say my photo mat's going to be, I don't know, 3 inches without the tab, right? Say this is my photo mat. Boom, I want a little tab there. So you measure the tab at the widest point. The small tab measures 1 3/4 inches. So you have to decide whether you want a 1/4 of an inch under for your pattern paper or 1/8 of an inch under. So if you wanted a 1/4 of an inch under, you would cut your pattern paper at 1 1/2 inches. If you wanted 1/8 of an inch under, you would cut your pattern paper at 1 5/8 of an inch to get your mat. All right, so that's how you do it, my friends. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment down below. I'll be happy to answer it. If you have any comment, do so. If you love what you see on this channel, please give me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. This is Kathy with Paper Phenomenon, and until next time.